Hey everybody, it's Derrick Sue, your 2022 Oakland mayoral candidate, who unfortunately didn't get all of his signatures in. But Derrick, tell us what happened.
Well, there was a lot of miscommunication. Also, um, there's also a real big stigma about being homeless and even running for office. So that's I went in running for mayor, knowing that it would be difficult as a homeless person because of the stigma that goes along with homelessness, unfortunately.
Huh.
And so
Can you talk more
that
about
was
that?
yeah
I
one of
didn't.
the one of the things that I've always tried to do over the course of the 3 years that I signed up to become Oakland mayor was get my name out, name recognition, my face to be recognized. I try to attend as many public um, forums as possible to let folks know that I'm running. But yet, one of the things that I always encountered in a lot of the meetings is that you're homeless. Well, you realize you're part of Oakland's problem. So why would we want to elect a homeless person? Because
Whoa,
then
what was they would say? What to you? You're part of the what?
they
The what?
they would they would literally trash me out for being homeless because they felt that, well, if you're homeless, only thing that you know anything about is being homeless. So what are you going to do? Make the rest of Oakland homeless? That was a very common comment that I
Uh,
encountered year
that
in
was
and year out. It was very hurtful. And this isn't just by one or two people. This is by hundreds of people that I spoke to. And then I would be at BART stations trying to gather interest, also the nomination signatures, and I would hand out my business cards, and there would be a handful of people in about maybe a 15-minute period that would stop and actually engage me, and then the first question was, what would you do about homelessness? And so I would talk about homelessness in general, a plan that I have to create tiny home villages for long-term housing for these folks, and it wouldn't cost the city anything. And then they say, well, how would you know what the homeless want? I said, well, I'm a manager leader of Oakland's sanctuary homeless site number 1. I created the model for Oakland. And then people say, oh, then you're an extension of Oakland's problem, the homeless. And then it just gets worse from there. And that was very common, and it was very hurtful.
and
And
someone said this to your face.
oh yeah, they'll tell you to your face because they see me as a politician. And so politicians, it's open season to um, sometimes get ugly. And homelessness is a very, very touchy and sensitive subject here in Oakland. And there are a lot of folks with very, very deep personal feelings on the homeless because of past experience. And unfortunately, a lot of that experience has been negative. And so they transfer that hostile position uh, even to folks like myself who have been a community advocate and working on their behalf behind the scenes. And yet they don't want to hear that. They only want to talk about the problems.
I'm curious why they didn't look at you like I did, which was representative of an unfortunately growing constituency who needed a voice in City Hall, if only to figure out how to reduce their ranks so that others would not, well, join them, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it was just really disappointing to engage with folks uh, and it was always soon as it came to, well, I lead a homeless encampment here in Oakland. As soon as I opened with that, it was over. The conversations, there was no good outcome after that point. Uh,
Wow.
there except for the folks that I work directly with here in the community. Those were the ones that quickly came and supported my nomination petition by signing. A lot of the neighbors here who know my work personally, and they came and signed my nomination, and they were saying, "How can we help you? How can we help you get more signatures?" And so they even organized some Sunday parties at the motorcycle club here, which gave me some additional signatures, but it was still wasn't enough support.
How many did you get?
I had a total of 31 signatures, so I needed at least another 20 just to make sure at least if they disqualified one, I still had 50.
We need
And that
100.
and I need 100, but 50 is the minimum number. And
Oh, I didn't.
so
I thought 100 was the minimum.
no, no, 100 is what the city clerk's office recommends that you bring in, and but you have to have at least 50 verified nominations of Oakland residents.
Hmm.
And so they tell you to turn in 100, but if you turn in 101, you get disqualified. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, 101 signatures get you disqualified from the voting ballot. So you turned in at least 50 and no more than 100.
What have you learned about doing this? What have you learned about the city, and what have you learned about yourself?
Well, what I learned about the city is that there's a lot of inefficiencies. And the inefficiencies are a lack of accountability. We've engaged with the city auditor's office on a lot of the issues through our homeless hog services, and also being one of the street advocates like Nita B, who won $250,000 from the city of Oakland for civil rights violations on the homeless sweeps that have been occurring. And she still has 6 more that have to be heard by the court. And then the city council, your city council members that pass the disastrous EMP, encampment management program,
Mhm.
are running for mayor. And it's been a disaster. It at first in 2019, when the last pit count was taken, there was a 22% increase in homelessness, which brought Oakland homelessness to just about 4,700 individuals living on the street at that time.
Wow.
And now, since the EMP and its disastrous effects, we now have increased from 4,700 homeless people to nearly 8,800
Oh,
homeless people in
woo!
Oakland. And,
About
and
that.
so these are your 3 leaders asking to be elected your next Oakland mayor. Uh, and it's been a disaster for everybody. And they settled with Nita B's group out of court because they knew that they were going to get tarred and feathered by the court for violating a restraining order that was issued on one of those sweeps here in Oakland. And that's what caused the $250,000 reward or restitution to that group. It doesn't restore what happened or replace what happened, but it helps to ease the cost and the damages that those homeless residents face, with the sudden confiscation, illegal confiscation of their property, even medications. We're talking about medications, eyeglasses, birth certificates, and important paperwork were all confiscated in these sweeps. And so that's why the city council, Lauren Taylor, Jang Tao, Trevor Reed, all approved this settlement last week.
Who are you backing for mayor?
Uh, it's not one of the top 3.
What about Seneca?
And
You guys have a lot in common.
I like Seneca. I like his position on a lot of things here in Oakland, and then our common factors that we both uh, are supporters of CCWs, concealed carry weapons permits,
Right.
which also had, um, as of what was that, 2 days ago, Governor Newsom signed uh, a law nearly completely banning CCWs here in the state of California. So I'm still reading over that right now, but it really goes way beyond 2A rights. I mean, it's overreaching uh, with that ban. And so we'll see what happens, because we know that even though I'm not a NRA supporter, we know that the NRA will be contesting this in court. and
I wonder if
and
we
I,
can hear Seneca. Let me maybe Seneca can chime in if he is available. Let's find out.
yeah.
Calling Derrick Sue. I mean, what am I saying? Seneca Scott.
Democrat.
They look alike, folks. Hey, Seneca.
What's up?
Hey, man, I got Derrick Sue on live. We want you to join us. You got time?
On live? What's that mean?
It means like live stream, because he's talking about who he's going to support, and he said he had made up his mind. I mentioned your name. He said a lot of good things about you. Said, let me get this man's face on here.
Okay, hold on. I want a phone though, not a live stream.
So, let me see your link. Hold on.
Oh, was that link you sent me earlier?
Yeah. Wait. Not that one. Hold.
I didn't know what it was.
Well, let me send you a new one because we're in a different room. Hold on a second. It's going to say NEW new LINK new link, and there it is. I just sent you. It says new link.
It says new King. What you trying to say?
Oh no, it says new what? Man, it's a long day, man. It's been a long day.
Yeah, you're 3 hours in front.
I can't believe I did that. I'm never gonna. You know what? Knowing Seneca, he's not gonna let me live that one down either.
I'm gonna remember that one. Loud and clear, brother.
Oh man. Oh boy. I also talked to Harold Lowe. I told Harold he set the land speed record for signatures.
I just had drinks with Ignacio this weekend.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
He wants my link choice.
Hey, man, no, look. Ignacio is nothing if not a great partier. Okay?
Oh, he's a fun time.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, he enjoys life. That man loves life. I'm telling you. He straight up loves life. Like nobody's business.
I'm not muted, am I?
Say again?
I don't know why I said I'm muted. Oh, hold on. Let me finish getting this.
Wait. Oh, here you go. Here we go. All right.
Oh, okay. All right.
There he is. All right. Hey, the man. First of all, congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dad, man, what's up, brother?
How you doing, Seneca? Good seeing you.
Likewise. I've been having a busy day. I met with Ignacio today.
How'd it go?
He's convinced that people aren't going to vote for anyone who's a current council person, and he wants to align himself with something different. So that's interesting. I just think about it.
You guys are a team up. I was saying this to Derrick. Derrick should help you. And we were talking about how you all are aligned. And so
just so you know, they tried to get Greg Hodge, me, and Elisa had the same thing happen as Derrick, where we all had appointments scheduled for next week, and then they did the old switcheroo and told us we have to make it by.
Say what? Can you tell us viewers who aren't what happened? What happened? Tell the person that knows nothing about what's going on, which is what happened. Thanks.
On the election guidelines, it's clear there are 2 dates. The first date says the 12th, which is offices with an incumbent, and the latter says the 17th, with offices with no incumbent. Libby's termed out, the mayor's office has no incumbent. However, what they mean by incumbent, the definition of incumbent means the mayor's office has no incumbent. What the hell is that? I just hurt myself in 10 seconds ago. But anyway, what they really meant, they don't have this in writing anywhere, but the explanation of the slip up was anyone who's a current elected official counts as an incumbent. And so D6, for example, has no incumbents on it. Right? There's not a person running a D6 who's a current office holder in the city of Oakland. So their deadline is the 17th. But in the city of Oakland mayoral race, there are 3 incumbents, Treva, Lauren, and Shen. That's not in writing anywhere. The definition of what an incumbent means, it's not anywhere in writing.
Yeah, it's not.
So, and Elisa Victory is a lawyer. Derrick Sue's not, me and Derrick we may not be lawyers, but we're not too dumb. Greg Hodge is not a dummy. All of us, every single person who's not in the city, who's already a current elected, and faces different challenges to people who are able to get their campaigns funded and be mercenaries and work for special interests, right? Mm-hmm. We, all of us, were planning. I actually had set a date for Wednesday of last week, but then I saw Ignacio had press at his, and I said, oh, that's smart. Let me learn from the experienced people and make a media stunt out of it. So let me move mine to next week, have people there with me, call some press and see if I can have a press conference with some cameras out to show people that I'm a serious candidate. So I moved it just to have more time. I was ready to go. And I just happened to have my staffer triple check on Friday. And if he triple checked, and they still told him I was good for next week. 2:00 p.m., 2:00, I'm eating lunch, and I get a call from the office, and it's like, can you come here by 4:30? And so Derrick, myself, and Lisa all went. I mean, not Derrick, Greg Hodge. And I'm like, this is crazy. All of us. So I don't know if there's some kind of like, I don't have enough money for a lot more lawsuits against the city of Oakland. But it's a little alarming. And I know that Greg felt slighted by it. It felt like it was deliberately confusing. It would be easy to put an incumbent means anyone, like it's easy to put that there, right? Any reasonable person would look at it and say, oh, well, there's no incumbent for mayor.
Boom.
It's the 17th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought that. What the heck, man? Like,
and then at the clerk's office, Crystal Sams was telling me about Wednesday, August 17th. She never talked about August 12th at all. She said that's the first deadline, but you want to make this deadline, which is Wednesday, August 17th, which is what Crystal told me. And so that's what I focused on. She said, you need to call by Monday, which is today, to make your appointment so that you turn in all your paperwork. It's a one-shot deal, and it has to be done by 5 o'clock on Wednesday, August 17th. That's what I was told. No extensions on that. You got one shot at this, and that's it. And so today I was supposed to turn in all of my paperwork if I had everything, but because I don't, I didn't go.
Well, you should get that stuff pretty easy. You want some help? You got to Wednesday.
Yeah, I've been working on it but then, like I was telling Zenny, the biggest obstacle that I have to overcome is the stigma of being a homeless person running for an office, where people are extremely cruel with their comments, even to my face, on the homeless situation here in Oakland.
I've seen on social media.
If I was a housed person, I wouldn't have this issue, and I believe I would be a front runner if
See,
I wasn't.
I have to disagree with you about one thing. I think, just out of criticism, I think if you had started early on signatures and you're better organized.
Yeah, and that would have helped a lot.
Right, because I think you would have had a constituency. You could have had a place. Somebody could have said, "Hey, you know what? Let's meet at Leaning Tower Pizza and feed everybody." Right?
Yeah.
Boom, get your signatures there. Right? So it's just, admittedly, because you're out there for a long time, my friend. As I was saying, I got his spiel down. He's 20, because plus he's a vlogger on the site, right? Hi, I'm Derrick Sue, your 2022 Oakland mayoral candidate. For almost 3 years, right?
Yeah, long time.
Translate to the ground, and you got to have that translate to the ground in order to make the difference. Harold Lowe did it in 2 days. He was running on CP time.
Yeah, color people's time.
People hate Nikki Bass, and she's very not well liked in her district. That definitely was part of it. But like I said, man, there's not a lot to go out there and get. However many more you need, you only need 50 to qualify. You don't have to turn in. I turned in like 89. I think the first time I turned in 74. I just made sure I knew all of those people.
Yeah.
And I knew where they lived at. You have a lot of people who will support having you on that ballot. It's not about you want to see me win. It's about I deserve to be in the election.
Just getting on the ballot. You would like to see me on the ballot. And that's what I tried to explain to folks. And then it just comes back, well, you're homeless. I wouldn't vote for a homeless person anyway.
But you don't have to even tell them that. There's some people who know so little about politics. You can just say, you're a registered voter. I want to be on the ballot. I'm a regular neighbor like you.
Yeah.
Right?
And it comes up just simply because they bring up the topic, what would you do about homelessness? And
of course they do. Number one.
Yeah, and so I started explaining that, and then they would qualify my answer. So, well, how would you know that would work? And then that's unfortunately where the wheels fall off the wagon, because I tell them, well, I'm a founder and leader of Oakland's first sanctuary homeless encampment. I manage one of the most important sites, community homeless sites in East Oakland. And then people, oh no, you're one of the problems here of Oakland. I said, rather than asking,
what do the activists support? Right? What about all the homeless activists? There's lots of them. They got whole nonprofits.
Yeah.
You've had people on as guests, so they're out there. I just contend that, my friend, I contend that I thought, and I think you saw some boogie people, right? And you made them bigger than they really are at the expense of your constituents. At the end of the day, numbers talk. And if you're able to amass numbers can turn attitudes. So I think you're selling yourself short, assuming what people are going to think about you created that boogie person. All right. Because in my mind, you could win. You could have won. That's how I was telling my mom about you 2 years ago. I said, this guy could become the first homeless person to be mayor of Oakland. Okay. That's how sold I was on you. So I'm 3,000 miles away. I did the best I could by giving a platform and everything. And credit, you used it well. And so from that standpoint, right? But and then you have people who I think would love to help you put together a ground game just because they're on the ground. And what better constituency of people are on the ground than people who are unhoused? Frankly, okay. And you
have a neighbor who can help you if you want to do it. Barry Lewis Senior's son, you know him, Coach Drew.
Yeah,
right.
I've had several people from the nearby churches come by, and it was a very different experience talking with the folks from Acts Full Gospel, Allen Temple, and communicating what I bring to the neighborhood and bring the equity to East Oakland and getting rid of the harm. And one of the biggest accomplishments that I recently had with the Attorney General Rob Bonta's office was the closure of ABNI Foundry. It was my medical reports that caused that closure because they shortened my life. It's estimated that I'm not going to see 70.
Wow.
And typically, homeless folks have their life shortened anywhere from 15 to 25 years on average on the street. So, basing upon what I've been told by my doctors, in fact, I'm due for my next checkup here in September, based upon my poisoning of hexavalent chromium in my lungs. And so that's a cancer-causing agent that if you hear me talking and coughing a lot, that's the hexavalent chromium that's in my lungs and shortening my life. And so that's why I have set up all these different tools and instruments.
What kind of
for
diet
money.
are you on to fight that? I mean, and also, are you taking turmeric in powder form with ginger tea, or?
There's very little that can be done on this one. I'm on medications that the doctors. It's more for comfort and than anything else. It's not going to stop uh, the effects of hexavalent chromium. It's banned by the federal government for emissions, and yet ABNI had been emitting this poison and toxin into the East Oakland community for decades, and poisoning our school children downwind less than 3/4 of a mile of school.
But you're just up. You mean you're not trying?
I'm only 200 yards away from the stack, so I'm literally the first person breathing it, other than the employees on the site.
Do you need a gas mask or something we can get you to mitigate that?
Well, they're closed now. They have ceased operations as of June, and they are going to be vacated. Yeah, they've been vacating right now. They're moving a lot of materials out of the yard. I hear the machinery moving the cast iron and putting them on the train movers to go to Texas. So they're clearing that site. And unfortunately, there's a developer who's already purchased that property, and they're talking about a mixed use with housing. I can't believe that they're talking about housing with so much toxins in the vicinity right there, because we have the cleanup of ABNI Foundry for decades of toxins that are now contaminating the grounds, and before we can even build. Then we have a 24-hour rail system that goes by at less than 100 feet away, emitting diesel emissions. Then we have Highway 880 with the constant emissions from cars.
Right.
We have two crematoriums in the area that are going 24 hours a day. Then we have two concrete recyclers and their dust and toxins that are emitted into the same area. So
talk about environmental racism.
Yeah, but the good news is you're going to be out of that situation next year, right, Derrick?
I'm going to be out of this situation at the sometime in the top of the new year, because of some work that I've done with the community as a community advocate, and one of the biggest sources of income that I'm going to be having is last year, you remember there was a big cannabis bust here in Oakland.
Yep.
In fact, it's the biggest one in history. And I was the actual CI on that case. I started working with the DEA office in San Francisco back in 2018.
Don't be telling people that on the internet, Derrick.
What's that?
Don't tell people that on the internet.
I mentioned it on the internet, and I had the only video of the actual search and seizure by Alameda County Sheriff's Department that was posted online, because I live here. And one of the things that I was always worried about was that those some of the officers, hey, Derrick, how are you doing? We're here. It's like, because.
So are they paying you the reward from the?
Yes, I am allowed a 10% reward bounty on everything. And so the first payment that I receive is a cash payment. 10% of $10 million that was seized just on that one operation. So that's an automatic $1 million cash reward bounty that's going to be paid out.
Yeah, good job, bro. Congratulations.
And so, and that's just the start, because there's an accounting going on by the sheriff's department and the DEA, and we have 11 sites here in Oakland that I was involved in the CI reward program. So right now it's estimated up to $40 million bounty reward paid over the next 5 to 7 years.
What's CI, by the way?
That's confidential informant.
Okay.
And that's different
So
than
you're confidential informant. Okay.
Yeah, I was the confidential informant that Sheriff Ahern actually mentioned in the media release after the bust. But that bust was at a different site. They didn't have Ahern here because there was so much here. And they had busted a smaller site, which was more manageable for the media and showing what this operation did.
Hey, as we close, I just got to ask both of you, what do you think that it says, unless she's changed, that Shangtao had pending marked by her name for the list, whereas Seneca, you got yours in?
I think she just haven't updated them yet. I doubt she doesn't have it. So.
Yeah, I mean,
she has a lot of support in District 4. Every time when I've attended something in District 4, she has overwhelming support. Everybody goes to her table. Everybody goes to her. Nobody comes to my table. If I get anybody, it might be one or two, and then it's just to pick up a card and keep moving.
I had the opposite experience. I was just in District 4 the other day. They don't like her.
No, it's.
I think that you may be going to organize events by her people. Don't go to her events. Right? Yeah. Those are her people. I was just at her rally the other day. They had to pay. They had to force union staff to go, and no one attended.
I saw that. I'm gonna put that up. By the way,
and today they had a front runners luncheon in Jack London Square, where none of us were invited. We're candidates too.
Ignacio was very upset. We're gonna have another one on whatever, and I'm like, don't invite me. I don't care. If you were gonna have them both, you should announce them both with the rollout. You did that as a backup plan.
I'm setting it up tonight. We're going to do a forum for the other candidates. That's exactly what I'm going to title it. Everybody that's a candidate. So right now we're looking at Seneca, Ignacio, John Riemann,
Peter
Lou. We'll look at
Alyssa Victory. Yeah,
hopefully. Yeah. Monisha said she didn't make it, so she's off the list. She said she didn't get enough. She was pending, but but the bottom line is I'm going to do one that is going to include everybody but the council members because they didn't include anybody. And that's only fair, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they did, you know?
Yeah, that's what the three top front runners did
Yeah.
today to the rest of us. Disrespected all of us.
They're not front runners.
Exactly.
At least they'd like to think that anyway.
All right, folks. It's 11:44. I'm going to end the broadcast. Stick around in the background. Hey, folks, more results from the signatures turned in for the 2022 Oakland mayoral election. Please subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube and bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com as well as OaklandNewsOnline.com. Hey, by the way, you know where I got that little flourish where I said bookmark? Remember Don Cornelius on Soul?
Yeah.
You can bet your last money it's all going to be a stone gas, honey. All right. Stick around the background, folks. I'll see you all. It is this broadcast.